Hey y'all, this is gonna be a great show. We're gonna talk about the upcoming election with the Democratic National Convention here. We have the illustrious First Lady of the Village of Broadview, my friend, Mayor Katrina Thompson. Hey, we got to have some prompts and hand claps and stuff like that, because she and what I think is so much about her toughness makes her sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Look at
She's
that.
tough. Yeah, she's firm. She's what she is. But before we get into her and everything that she's trying to accomplish and what she has accomplished for the village of Maywood, for the village of Broadview. I'm sorry. For the village of Broadview, we want to talk about our sponsors, and we want to say, hey, thank you, Red Door, Kimberly Lightfoot, for being part of us. 1519 Roosevelt Road in Broadview, and they're doing private events. They have private events at her location, and then as the senator, she's going to be doing a fall fun day at Brookfield Zoo, noon to 2, September 22nd. Registration is at 11, and it's on South Gate of Brookfield Zoo at 3300 Gulf Road. So in Brookfield, please try to make it and be there. Then we got the Rhythm and Blues Cafe. They got a lock on the Soldier Fields now. They're doing a booth there, and they're doing some great things down in Forest Park. Matter of fact, the mayor of Forest Park, he will be here on October 3rd.
Oh, nice.
So we booked him,
Nice.
and he's a good guy. Also, Stacy's Cafe, 845 Manheim. They have a great menu. They have daily specials, good fish, good food. It's a great thing. Hey, Stacy, what's going on? And then we got Casa de Porras, 1117 South First Avenue. They do the cigar thing, and all of you guys, whatever you need, whatever you want at that location, they got lockers, they got all of that stuff. And then we have the View, and I was there last night, and
It was nice.
Mr. Alfred, the young man, Donald Alfred II, I guess he is. He was extraordinary. He played that guitar. His band was nice, and all of that. And tonight, and then last night they had the crab boil.
Mhm.
So it was good.
And it's delicious.
Yeah,
too.
and yes,
It
it's
is.
very,
check them out.
very good. So they had a good day. And then on Saturdays and Sundays they do the brunch. But tomorrow night they're gonna have the young man, what's his name? The blues and jazz thing, and he plays the horn, and he's very, very good. I can't think of his name right now, but he's very good. But stop by tonight. They're gonna have a rooftop. They're gonna be smoking cigars and all of that good stuff. Then we have Viola Shot, the dispensary in the town of Broadview, and they're doing well, and they want you to come by. They have daily specials as well, Monday through Sunday. So come in and join them. Then we had a Blue Note. They're doing well. Call them up, book your event, or whatever the case might be. And then I had a Chicken Wayne Kang. That's my man, Trevor Black. Check him out. Fresh cooked, fresh to order. So they doing some great things, and we like it and we love it. But glad to have you back.
I know. I'm glad
You've
to
been
be
on
back.
vacation.
Yes.
Y'all been kicking it the whole month.
You got to.
As we should.
As we should.
And you're doing a good job. How was your month? How was your?
It was great. It was really good. My birthday is always a 4-month celebration.
Yeah, I
so-
was there, so I know what you was doing. I know you was surrounded by them young men and young women.
Don't have me over here blushing.
That's okay. It's okay to blush. It's okay to blush. So evidently you did something special. You bought yourself something special for your birthday. What did you get?
I transitioned over to the EV side, electric vehicles.
Electric vehicles.
Yes,
No,
yes.
don't stop there. Just keep.
I don't want to tell all my business.
Well, you ain't got to. They go see you in your business. You go be driving down the street in your business.
But it feels good not to have to buy gas.
Oh.
I will say that.
Okay.
I will
Bless
say
you.
that. So
Bless you.
I'm
And
I'm
you're
enjoying the
helping
journey.
environment.
Yes, I'm being
With no
responsible.
emissions.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
I look under my hood and I see nothing but a windshield wiping fluid little container.
Y'all
For
hear what she
refills.
said though.
Okay.
She got one.
I just thought that was so
She
exciting.
got one. She got
I'm
one. But
excited by the little things.
tell us about, because I've been hearing about it, but I didn't get a chance to see it. The Shannon Sharp video.
I didn't see it either. I just been hearing the buzz about it.
What was the buzz? What's the buzz?
So apparently he went live
Okay.
while in the act.
Of the act of what?
Sex.
Having sex?
He was getting it
Is
in.
that what that girl was saying?
Oh wow.
I'm not that Michelle.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
So
he was
Shannon,
getting it in.
you done went off on the deep end, huh, buddy? But that's okay. It's all right. We love you still.
Oh man.
We ain't got nothing to do.
Well,
with
ESPN so far said that they're not going to take disciplinary action. That's surprising. I have my own opinion, but he I think he's connected to something on Disney. ESPN.
ESPN
is.
owns all of that. I
Yeah.
mean, Disney owns all of ESPN, ABC, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he said it wasn't a mistake. So I don't know what he was going for.
Hey,
with that
Michelle, how you doing? I hope everything works out for you. So that was her name, Michelle. That's what
one.
I heard.
Yes.
So anyway, that's what it's all about. And then now we got this Chicago takeover Houston. Why they don't come to Chicago? All of these other
No.
cities, we always go in there and spending a lot of money. Why don't they come to Chicago?
I think that's
They
a good point. We
scared.
got to incent them to come here.
Yeah, we got to have an incentive.
We got
for
to
'em to
incent
get
them
in.
to come here.
So you going?
I'm definitely going.
Oh, Jesus. You got your room and everything
Yep,
straight?
I'm all
ready to
ready,
go.
ready,
You-
locked and loaded.
So you going to do the whole weekend and come back Monday?
the whole weekend. The whole
Hey,
weekend.
man, be safe. That's
Yes,
all I got to
that's-
say.
that's the
Be
goal.
safe. But listen, we got what I consider one of my heroes, and she has a lot of challenges that she has been through, and she still got another term of election that's coming up that she's trying to win. But we got the one and only, the first lady of Village of Broadview, Mayor Katrina Thompson.
Whoop,
Once
whoop.
again, we going
Thank you for
we gonna
having
treat-
me, Chris.
Now you know this makes sense to me. Kamala Harris is trying to be the first Black president of the United States as a female,
Mhm.
and you were the first female of the Village of Broadview as a
Mhm.
mayor. Tell us about that as you go through your struggles. You went to the Democratic National Convention. How was that? How was that experience?
It was an experience of something you just experience. It's just an experience of a whole bunch of people in a room that's really excited about what the outcomes of November is going to bring to us. And so we're excited about Kamala being the first elected Black female president in our country, which is a big deal
Mhm.
Very big deal.
because representation do matter. But the hard part is how do you appease to everyone? And that's very, very challenging because everybody got wants. Like we have our own wants being Black, right? And Hispanics got their wants, the Asians, whites, everybody got their wants. And she has to figure all of that stuff out to make it work for everybody.
Yeah.
And you know, you got your haters in every area or whatever the case might be. You got people of concern that, you know, that's concerned about different things and her delivery. How did you take the debate? What did you think about the debate?
The one that was on Tuesday.
Did they have a one before Tuesday?
So, I watched it because my mind is made up. So I don't need a debate to make me say who my choice is going to be. My choice is clear for president of America. But listening to the debate, we got some significant concerns if we listening to folks talk about eating animals and, some indiscretionable things like abortions after the 9th month. I mean, like, who thinks of these things?
Yeah.
And it just don't make sense. We need someone that understands policy. that's going to impact us at a high federal level, because the local elections are the most important elections. And sometimes we negate from what's local versus what's on the hierarchy, which is our federal.
Mm-hmm.
The federal implement the policies, and we have to have someone that's going to look at our issues as it relates to housing, transportation, women rights. All of these things impact us, especially those in disadvantaged communities. And when we talk about the environment, for so long, Black America has been left out of that equation. We need to hold them accountable to say, no, we need energy efficiency, like electric vehicles and charging stations in our community. We want green infrastructure. We need trees, because the trees are a part of our health and wellness. So where do we go to? We need someone that's going to take the charge and keep us in position so that we can have access.
And as a mayor of the village of Broadview, you have a lot of different challenges. You have things that people come across. Like some people will say, "Why you got 3 laundromats, one across the street from each other, and one right down the street?" Those challenges that you run across. Why do you have a parking lot over here? Why do you do it? How do you handle that? What?
So most of the times, most people don't understand economic development. That's number one. So if you don't know how to develop a community, then you're going to always say, well, why we have 3 of anything. So when you look at the laundromats that we have a large space of multifamily units. And most people that's raising kids, and you have like loads of laundry, it's hard to go downstairs and wash 2 loads when you can get 10 or 15 done and stay there a couple hours, fold and go, right? And so you have to also look at how our infrastructure, if we go into a green economy, we got to make sure that we have energy efficiency businesses in place. So the newest laundromat that we have, it is water conservation, is energy efficient, and people are going there. And they don't just live in Broadview. They're coming from around the township to wash loads of clothes in Broadview.
And yeah, I see that, because when I was when I didn't have a washer and dryer, I had to go to Broadview and wash my clothes, and it was like, okay, a little bit. And sometimes I would go to Forest Park because they didn't have it in Maywood except for one spot, and that was used most of the time because of the family dwellings of the apartment buildings and stuff.
But that's what
like
I
that.
say when people don't understand economic development. You got to look at the data, and what do the data tell us on how we develop the community. So,
Yeah, I think what you just said is really critical, as far as I think a lot of people, it's hard to stay focused when you have a lot of noise around you, right? And you're very fact-based. You're saying, I'm looking at the data. The data is telling me we need X, Y, and Z, and I think that that's logical. But those of us on the outside don't know that story. So it's easy to come up with our own conclusions based on
but
what we
what's so
believe.
amazing is they come up with their own conclusions, but they never come to a village board meeting to say, why are we voting on this? Or, voice their concerns. One thing about myself and the board of trustees, we are listeners and we encourage public participation.
Y'all all female too.
We have all female board. And so we encourage, well, actually, it's a really good, diverse board of educated women that want the best for communities. And so it works for us. But we encourage public participation because we don't know it all. Just because I'm the mayor don't mean it's a dictatorship. We are listeners.
And that's what you have to be, especially when you're in the public eye all the time and everybody's watching and everybody's going to be critical and everybody's doing that thing. Kamala Harris has a lot on her plate. She got people coming to her from everywhere. And I see this within you got Umar Johnson coming at her. You got Charleston coming at her. You got even Judge Joe Brown coming at her. Everybody's saying all of this crazy stuff about her, not giving her credit for being Black, not giving her credit for just saying that she's an Indian and whatever the case might be. But she came from a strong background of educators. Her dad is a professor. I mean, how does that play in the role that you're doing?
So a lot of times, people are emotional based. And so when you look at the emotion side of things that, I got to have this, or I want it this way, or you're saying, you may have a student that may have some failures in school, but you say it's the school that's failing. When as a parent, you got to step up to the plate too. And so, it's just, how do you juggle that? So one thing for me, people always ask me, how do I manage me? God first, then me, then my family, and then everybody else. And I keep those practices in place because that's what builds that humility for me, that I know I'm not better than anybody else, and that I'm always going to think about myself as selfish as that sound, but what's best for my mental health. So I always put me next. And then my family, because I have a family. My mother is still living. You know, I have siblings that still living. I have nieces. I have my own daughter. So those things are of value to me, and we just don't have those moral values anymore. We just base everything off emotion. So if I don't fix your street, then you're going to get mad at me and you're going to run against me.
Right.
And you can see all of the growth that we've had over the last 8 years.
Right. And you know what? I don't know what it means to be a politician, but
Yes, you do.
Well, I'm not a
You're a
politician.
local politician, a community politician.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
There you go.
okay.
There you go.
But at the end of the day, I understand some of the concerns of the community
Mhm.
as well as some of the concerns of the village. And you have those challenges that people don't understand. Sometimes you up late at night trying to figure it out.
Mhm.
You've listened to the presentations of the people that's trying to get land in this community, trying to build. What are some of the new projects that you guys got going?
So we are really, really excited about ChickfilA coming into town.
Okay.
So
Ooh, that's a good one.
yeah,
Okay.
so ChickfilA is coming. So they should be in.
I heard they got a good biscuit and chicken sandwich.
And the macaroni and cheese.
Ooh,
Fire
Jesus.
macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I said somebody grandma back there. They can't
Really?
convince me in no
Yeah,
other way.
It's
Okay.
delicious. So that's in that's in mid-October that they're gonna be opening
Where's
up.
your location?
It's right in the Broadview Village Square, and they are hiring. So we're gonna start circulating that
I need
information.
a job.
So they are looking for local talent to come work at the Chick-fil-A. And then on September 25th, we're gonna do our first community meeting for a 36 unit housing project that's getting ready to launch. So we're gonna introduce that to the community.
Where is that going to be?
It's gonna be at 13th and 14th off Roosevelt Road.
Okay. I seen it. I
The
seen
vacant
a
lot.
little bit
Yeah.
growing up. Okay.
Okay.
And then it's so convenient because now you helping Maywood because they right across the street. You
Mhm.
got S2s and
Yep.
Popeye's
So
chicken.
you know what one
J
thing
and J.
about the mayors like Mayor Booker and Mayor Harvey and Mayor Hoskins, we try to build development that we all can participate in that's best for the community. So when we look at our streetscape project that's on Roosevelt Road, we partner with the Village of Maywood because on so far it goes Maywood and then across the street you in Broadview. But we did that partnership together so that we could do the whole Roosevelt corridor so it's unified. So that's the real work, is how do we make communities look similar? So we should not be, well, this Maywood, look how I look over there, or this Broadview, this how I look. No, we
Mhm.
want it to be unified and showing that we can work together, we can live together, and we can develop together.
So my thing is this. Do you meet often with the Proviso Township mayors? I mean, do you have a coalition?
Yeah,
A
we have the
group
Proviso
alliance?
mayors, and we meet once a month, and we talk about different things and different issues that come up that impact local government.
Okay. And when you're talking about the impact, and you just said about how you feed off each other and you
Mhm.
help each other, and that's a beautiful thing. How does the federal government is it a downhill or is it an uphill through the local to the federal, or is it a federal? They give the word and you guys.
So it all
adhere?
depends on who you ask.
Okay.
So for me, everything starts local because we get to touch the people. Like,
Mhm.
can you go touch the president of the United States?
I have.
I said, can you?
No, not
No,
on a
I'm being
regular basis.
realistic.
I'm being
Yeah.
realistic too.
Yeah,
I
but
know
the
I
average
cannot.
person has not done that. Can you go and talk to, the vice president
No.
and for your issues and concerns? So it's all of these barriers and layers of things that we have to go through. But one thing you can do is you can go talk to your mayor. And we are the voice for the community to advocate for the things that we need, or if it's a policy that impacts us, like environmental sustainability, that impacts us on the federal level, and they should be funding environmental sustainability initiatives so that we have more in our communities. When we talk about lead service lines, like the Village of Broadview, our lead service lines is $40 million project. Where do we get that unfunded money from? Because we can't put it on the backs of the taxpayers. So we have to go out and advocate and work together. Like when we show up in numbers, we can get more of the money when we do it together. So when we talk about the C4 initiative, the Cross Community Collaborative, that's an initiative that I started.
Say that again. C4.
It's the Cross Community Climate Collaborative. And so that's with 14 municipalities. I started that with President Aducci of River Forest and President Skaman of Oak Park. And the three of us put this initiative together because we saw the differences in those communities that have access to resources versus a community that look like ours, a Black disadvantaged community. And so they've been in an environment space for a long time. And so we're learning off of them. But one thing that President Biden put in place was the Environmental Justice Initiative that afforded us to be able to go after these grants. And by us being a part of this, the C4 collaborative that we are, the Village of Broadview has gotten almost pretty close to $2.5 million. And so we're able to do composting. That's going to impact the Village of Bellwood, Broadview, Maywood. We've done some energy efficiency things that impacts the Village of Broadview, Bellwood, and Maywood. And so when we bring these initiatives together and we work together to show our community that we are concerned about our environment, what we have to do, we learn it from our other community partners or our neighboring communities that's been in this space. And we just do the work together, but it's not just the municipalities. We've included our local schools, our libraries, and our park districts, all of us.
Yeah, and the social service agencies as well.
Yes.
And it's very important because we got a event coming up with the PLCCA. They're having a
Bridging the Gap.
And they're launching it from Broadview
Yes.
Baptist. So tell us about that program.
So the Bridging the Gap is something that Bishop Porter wanted to put together. I guess several years ago, they put a parade together and he wanted to bring that back to say, this is who we are. Let's bridge the gap with Broadview, Bellwood, Maywood. And so we're going to do the parade from starting at the Broadview Baptist Church at 1:00. And then we'll go to Proviso East where we'll have a robust of resources available for all the community to come and participate in. So we want to see all of our communities to come out, walk in the parade with us. We have floats. It's going to be a really big deal. And these are the things that show that how we unify.
Yeah.
When we unify, we can do a lot and we get a lot done.
Well, Miss Van, the Westchester,
Trustee Van,
she did the walk, the
Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked across the bridge. Then she raised a flag. The march was it was significant in the fact that and shout out also to 9/11. That was personal for me because a lot of things happened that I didn't understand. So it became personal, but she did a great thing. So the collaboration of the different villages and the different towns makes sense. But at the end of the day, sometimes you get people that don't understand how it works, how we get in and how we try to make sure that it's good for everybody involved. And they don't think that you as mayor, or you as whoever the village manager would work for the people. Tell them how that works for when you working for the people. It's not easy.
Well, we do work for the people, but you have to have a passion for working for the people. So I love what I do. So it's just a natural thing for me. And everybody that's in an elected position, may not be like, I'm free. When I say I'm free, I'm free.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get to lead from a place of freedom, love, and kindness every day.
The love movement.
Right. And so, but that's a good movement to be in a place of love. But one thing I've recognized is that I can't satisfy everybody. But one person that I know I can make happy is myself.
There you go.
And I live like that every single day.
So
you may get pissed off at me because I had to make a decision, or you may not like a decision that the board voted on, but it's what's best for the majority. And we have to look at it from a lens of what's best for, because most people that's complaining, it's an isolated issue that is only for them. Because when I talk to multiple residents, they love what I do. But it's going to always be that one that's going to always stir up stuff to make it seem like it's nothing. Because guess what? Bad news carry faster than good news.
Yeah. No.
And the other thing
true.
is, if you're not visible, you invisible. So one thing, Rob, you cannot say is that I'm not visible.
No, you're here. You're there. You're everywhere. Samoa Fair is everywhere. You heard it. But at the end of the day, when you have your challenges from the community, when you have difference of opinions with people, I've seen you share knowledge to help those come through. How does that work for you?
So for me, and that's the hardest part of when you're talking about community is educating, because that takes time to do. But I'm a full-time mayor, and I want the community to understand why we make decisions. We don't just bring things for the board to approve. That's not an opportunity to educate. So like most recently, we just had our composting community meeting to educate the community on what composting is, because you hear, well, the raccoon's gonna get in the garbage, they're gonna tear up the lids and all of that. But if you learn how to do it the proper way, that won't happen. So we have to educate our community on a lot of things. We talk about, when we had a point where we was talking about raising our water rates. We just didn't raise the water rates. We had like 5 or 6 community meetings to explain why we needed to raise the water rates, and we got community input and feedback, and we put that into some of the discussions that we have so that we can make a sound decision, because it impacts all of us. If I'm raising water rates, guess what? I take a bath.
Right.
So I got to pay for the water too. It's not like I get it for free.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you have to educate people on processes and things that matter to community. And when government don't do that, that's what make people don't trust, make them feel unease, and like they don't have a voice. And the people have the voice.
Right.
They really do have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so when people, your encouragement is come to the board meeting.
Yes.
Come to the board meeting. Tell us what you feel. Tell us how you feel. Share your thoughts and see if we can improve on it.
We do have on our agenda where people can make a public comment. You have 3 minutes to make your comment. Now, the thing is, you may not get a response, because the village board meetings are business meetings. They're not here like a community meeting and we're doing a Q&A. Mm-hmm. We are there to conduct the business of the village, and that's what we do. But we are here to listen to your concerns. So you may come up and, talk about, have your public comment, whatever it is, good, bad, or indifference. We'll listen to you, but we'll follow up with you. But we may not entertain it. As some people want you to go back and forth. We don't go into that energy. We there to conduct the people business. And guess what? We've been there all day.
And it's a great opportunity. I think that for those that complain, and sometimes it's really just a matter of being heard or being able to vocalize whatever the concern is. And that kind of will bring people off of that high that they're on emotionally. But if you want to complain about it, if you have a vehicle to express your concerns, why not utilize that?
And I have an open door policy. The only thing is, sometimes I may be in meetings when a resident may come and ask to see me, but they will take their phone number. I will call them back. If they want to come in, we'll make arrangements for me to have a one-on-one with them. I do that all the time. But I always said when I got in this position that I didn't want to be the mayor that was invisible, or people didn't know who I was, or it was hard to find. Residents text me. They have my phone number where they can text me with whatever issue or concern that they may have, or they may be reporting something that's on the block. They'll text me. They feel more comfortable bringing it to me and just let me, work through the department heads to get the issue resolved.
Mm-hmm. So, the mayor is a huge responsibility, and y'all have to forgive me because I'm going up and down. I had eye surgery, right?
Oh,
and
right.
I had corrective eye surgery,
Okay.
so I could see good. I could see now. I could see Earl.
See
Before I couldn't see Earl. I had to put these glasses on. Now the glasses are blurry, so I'm blessed to even be transitioning to that.
Amen.
But some of the things that you deal with, I wanted to ask this one question. She had put it out. What's been the eye-opening things that has transpired since you've become mayor?
I think the most eye-opening thing is the lack of knowledge when it comes to politics. It's just, sometimes I just can't believe it. People don't vote.
Your lack of knowledge, not
mine.
I'm just saying, seeing different things that transpire.
Yeah, because people don't, they don't want to take the time to read, investigate, and ask questions. We are so microwave in America that we want it right now. And you have to look into the facts. What's the facts and what's false? And if we're not looking at that, and people don't understand how to look at data, how you make decisions based off, the data collected that you're doing. So I was just surprised. And even when it came to Juneteenth, I've been very fortunate that I had grandparents and my mother instilled in us the Black culture. Black people in Proviso didn't know nothing about Juneteenth, and that was just like, where you been? Like, what school you go to?
Right.
Like, who you live in the house with?
Right.
They didn't talk about the Black culture. So I come from a culture of Blackness. And I'm proud. And I say it, I'm Black and I'm proud because I am, because of all of the hard that we went through in the housing, labor, transportation, being pushed out of neighborhoods and have to live in disadvantaged communities because we couldn't live in certain areas. And we're still fighting for some of those same things today. And we are, to me, for me, it's like we're crabs in barrels in a barrel when it comes to certain issues. When do we stand up and say, enough is enough? We got to follow a leader, because in the 60s they had leaders. But when those leaders got assassinated, it was up for grabs, or at least from my lens.
Okay, so one of the issues at the debate, I knew that he was who he was before he went on this debate. So I've looked at a little bit of it, or whatever the case might be. What is your take on the immigration? Because I don't know if the people eating dogs in Springfield and Aurora, I don't know nothing about that.
And I don't either, Chris.
Don't nobody know nothing about
But
that.
your immigration, how do you feel about that?
So, when you look and see, and this is what I talk when you asked me the question earlier, like, what's the most surprising? Policy.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to look at the policy to be able to interpret. So a lot of times when policy is created, it's funding that's embedded in these policies. But we don't know that. We're just looking at it surface. And so we do have immigration policy. Do it need to be reformed? I believe so. Should we put more criteria in place? I believe so, because guess what? When we were slaves and brought over here, we were made to do labor for free. Made, not we got a stipend, or we can get $9,000 for aid and stuff like that. And we were immigrants then.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, and I get that part of being immigrants, but it's a difference when you've been selected to come over here.
Exactly.
And when you've been made to come over here. So yeah, I respect that wholeheartedly. But at the end of the day, when we look at how they're placing and how they're strategizing around the immigrant thing, 45, he really he blew me the other day when he said they eating dead dogs and stuff like that. And then they do the characters on the Facebook talk about the dogs
leaving Springfield,
all that kind of stuff. But we're taking a serious matter and making a joke out of it.
But you know what? A lot of times when you look at social media, and you got to take social media for what it is. And so sometimes you have these algorithms that come into play that will put things in place that, that's targeted marketing of certain behaviors. So it's a behavior culture that's in social media that people get caught up in the fantasy of it. Instead of, like I said, you got to do the research and look into issues and concerns of what that really looked like for us. When we don't do that, that's problematic. But we rely on social media like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat or whatever social media platform that you want to look into. You still got to do your work and say, let me investigate this.
But that's the sad part, though, because we are so conditioned to want to be fed information. That's why I stopped watching the news personally, because I believe it's an agenda, and I believe that agenda is being pushed. I literally filmed. I used to manage a mortgage help center, and I filmed them showing kind of the devastation of what happened back in 2008, 2009, 2010. And it was one agenda that we all were aware of. But then when we saw the actual film, the actual end product, I was like, okay, that looks totally different than what. So the point that I'm making is we live in a society, as she mentioned, that wants to be fed information and does not want to take the time to then do their own research to fact find and validate what they're being told. And large media outlets depend on you being ignorant.
See, and one of the things that I share with people, the people that control the narrative, is the people that control the outcome.
Everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the most powerful people in the world are the ones that control information.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And when you control information, when they make that universal decision, this is how it's going to be. I mean, we could, if we want to, get a couple of hours of daylight saving time.
Yeah.
All they got to do is say, we changing the
That's
time.
it.
That's
And
it.
whatever the case might be, but they're controlling, and while they're in control, this is what we're up against.
Absolutely.
So it's very important to also understand, regardless to how we feel, social media has an impact
It does.
on
Oh,
politics.
Huge.
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 It's,
And
it's huge.
yeah, and when we, I don't know, I looked at a little thing the other day. They said the question was, tell us something in the Bible that people think is real, but it's not in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, white people. And it was like, I hear you. Let me do what I do.
Right.
And let me
Let me
get
go
into
back
this.
and research. Yeah.
A lot of people not doing the research,
they
like
not.
you're saying. They're not finding out, when they talk about Moses and the Hebrews, when they talk about all these different people. So when we say that, so when you get in there and you got a 45 saying stuff that was not validated.
Right.
And
But-
the people from Springfield say, we have no idea.
He has a base that doesn't need validation.
Yeah, but
because they already believe what they believe. They believe what they believe. So he can't do any wrong, technically. He can be as extreme as he wants to be. They believe what they believe, and you can't tell them no different. They don't want to fact check because he is who he is, and he has an agenda that behind the scenes, the people that are following him have as well. So he doesn't have to speak facts.
Okay, and it's true, but see, when it gets to a certain level now, because they, how did Kamala say it? 81 million people found you guilty.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot that we have to look into, and but you're saying we have to do our homework.
Mhm.
Now, you say the village, Broadview, they have their meetings when, and how can they reach you?
So our regular board, we go to a summer schedule, June to September. So we meet once a month on the first Monday of the month. This month, because of the holiday, is on Monday the 16th, which is the third Monday. But our traditional board meetings are Mondays, the first and third Monday of every month at 7:30 in the village of Broadview, located at 2350 South 25th Avenue.
Okay.
And we also stream. So those people that cannot participate in person, because you got some people that work different shifts or, got family to feed, kids to get to school for the next day. We do stream all of our board meetings and we archive them so they can go back, they can watch it live or they can go back and watch it at a later date. And I encourage our residents to do that because when people are out here telling their lies about things that's not happening, we can fact check it through a village board meeting that was recorded and broadcast, and we talked about this and this is how that went. Because people try to twist stories.
Oh, yeah.
And they twist them all the time. But ask me, I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Right.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody that's straight up, honest, and can back up what you're talking about.
Oh, I could back it up.
Because in that, see, that's
She a
why-
Virgo. She
that's
could back
why
it
I
up.
told you she was
She
sexy.
know this
deal-
my twin.
she
That's
deal
her
with
sexy,
facts.
Yeah. But yeah, y'all did have a birthday together.
got
You
birthday,
celebrate your
yeah.
birthday.
Yeah.
Then you launched your running mates or
Yep.
whatever the case might be. Tell us about that.
So I'm really excited.
Now, first of all, tell me about the young boy that introduced y'all. This
Jarrell.
kid, man.
You don't know Jarrell?
I know him. I
Oh,
know him,
but
but
you
I didn't
ain't
know
seen
he
him in
had that
action.
kind of vibrance.
Yeah, so Jarrell is my godson, and he's just he is the type of person, he can tell you about any elected person, like they whole bio off the top of his head, because he does his research. And so he looks into policy. We've grooming him to look at policy, legislation, and how to advocate for himself. So he's the chair of the Young Dems. And so they're getting ready to have an event on Saturday. I forgot the time, but I know it's that Saturday at the View. So they launching their Young Dem. But he's so articulate. He's like beyond the years of a 17-year-old.
I heard it. I heard it.
And
I was impressed.
Yeah, he is something. He's a phenomenon.
Yeah, I was impressed. So he introduced your slate Tell us about your
So the
slate.
slate, so I'm up for re-election, and I'm
Whoop,
asking
whoop.
for all of those that live in Broadview or know someone that live in Broadview to make sure they cast their vote. They vote for the only choice of the Broadview People Party, me at the top of the ticket. And then we have Kevin Clerk McGreer, who's up for re-election, our clerk. Trustee Abraham is up for re-election. Trustee Chow Malave is up for re-election, and I see she's viewing on live. So hey, trustee. And then we have a new trustee, Trustee Lakeisha Wimper. Well, candidate for trustee Lakeisha Wimper, that's going to be the third on our ticket.
Okay, and what's the clerk's name again?
Kevin McGreer.
Kevin McGreer. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He always show love when we greet and meet each other. So now this is your third term.
It
you
would be
looking
my
for?
third term.
So now, what would you tell a young person, female, male, whatever the case might be, to inspire them? What would you tell them to get them into, if they're interested in politics? What kind of advice would you give
So,
them?
Chris, I don't tell them anything. What I do is I invite them to the table to see the work that I'm doing so that they can see the leader leading and they picking up the nuggets along the way. And then we coach them into being able to articulate those conversations for themselves. So it's like I'm not a classroom teacher and I'm not instructing them, but I want them to see what leadership looks like. I want them to know who the other elected officials are in the community and how they interact with them and just polish them up so that they can take the charge, because somebody has to take the seats once we decide we don't want to be in the seats any longer. But we got to encourage and inspire our young people by inviting them to the table. You know, like I have the Bravia Young Scholars Program. And in that program, they eighth graders in our community that come in. You know, most recently we had two big initiatives that they brought to me and I just coached them through it. So we did a press conference on crosswalks with, you know, to get IDOT to put crosswalks and bike lanes at 17th because so they can have safe passageway to the school. And then the other one was the girls' uniforms over at Lindop School for basketball and for cheerleading. They went and made a presentation to the board. So we showing them how to present to the board in a professional way. And I said, you know, we need all these uniforms. And y'all always say, no, they introduced themselves and they gave a whole presentation to the board on these uniforms. And Lindop actually have put in their budget to purchase all new uniforms for the cheerleaders and for the girls basketball
That's
team.
awesome. Yeah,
But these are student-led
Mhm.
initiatives.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so when they are engaged and they can take the charge and they feel like they have a voice at the table, what do I need to tell them but just to help them out?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one thing I like about the Village of Broadview is that you work cohesively with the Park District and the school system
Mhm.
and the library, and they're different entities, but you guys work well together. How is that relationship?
Oh, you know what, the relationship that we have is really unique in Broadview because I can say like other communities don't have that cohesiveness like we have with our park district, our library, our school, or the municipal. And you know, leaders lead. Leaders bring people together. You don't bring chaos and confusion in any environment. Leaders have to lead and they have to, but we respect boundaries. Like we don't govern their financial decisions because it's a different taxing body. But if they ask us for support, we're gonna be there to support them. Or if I ask them for support, they be there to support the village. So it's just like one big happy family. We just make sure everybody is included and not excluded. If it's funding that's coming down the pipeline, I make sure that the school get it, the park district or the library. I don't say, well, how the village gonna participate in that?
Right.
You know, it's just we stay in our lane, they stay in their lane, but when it come together on how we impact the community, we come together like big brother and big sister and come together and get it done.
And see, lead by example.
Yes.
And that's very, very powerful. Well, God bless you, sweetie. Thank you
Well,
for
thank you,
coming to the
Chris.
Love Movement. We really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and understanding. As always, you've blessed this show with everything that you got. And I've seen you work hard. And like I said, your toughness is what makes you sexy. And you will always be. So to all our family, our friends, please treat people the way you want to be treated and never give up. And we believe in you. We thank you all for for coming on our show, listening to what we have to say. And we thank you, Earl. We're trying to do some different things coming in, but most importantly, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Well, thank
God
you,
bless
Chris.
you.
And so I will say this: anyone that would like to follow our political up until April 4th first, which is in 2025, is the Broadview People's Party on social media platforms.
God bless you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Hey, this is the Love Movement. Thank you, Terry Capri. We love you.
She just wanna have fun too. She know how to roll one. If I need her to come through, turn up, we best friends. All till we follow, she want to.